The rules won't save you while babysitting. I loved babysitting. With only being 17, I always used to babysit my younger brothers while our parents were away. So I had a bit of experience when it came to it. I always had a passion for babysitting, and I wanted to pursue a career as a full-time babysitter. All of my friends at the time had a job either at a supermarket or fast food. Personally, working fast food or stocking shelves weren't interesting to me. Yeah, the income was always better, but the experience of babysitting gives one a thrill of excitement. For the longest time, my parents always told me I was good with little kids, and in my free time I should babysit for extra money. Generally, I really wouldn't care about the money. Just giving a child another good memory for them to look back on years later is enough payment. I always saw myself as the fun babysitter. I would always play games with the kids and let them always stay up a little bit longer, but always made sure they went to sleep at a reasonable hour. I had a good reputation in my small town for being a good and trustworthy babysitter. I was recommended to any parent that needed a babysitter on such short notice. Sure, there were some weird parents and weird kids, but usually they would pay me the most up front at least. Recently, I had received a phone call from a desperate mother saying that she needed a babysitter for the night while she attended an important work event. She had 2 sons, Raphael, 10, and Taylor, 6. Her small family recently moved into a small home down the street from my small neighborhood. It was only 15 minutes away walking distance. I assured her that I would be more than happy to babysit her sons while she was away for a couple of hours. She offered to pay me $500 once her event was over. I told her that I would be on my way, and it would take me around 20 minutes or so. Our conversation was rushed as she explained that she needed to get ready and quickly ended the call. With the call ending, I started packing my small bag with board games and small easy crossword puzzles for me and the kids to play with, and I started my journey toward the house. If only I knew what I'd gotten myself into. Once I arrived at the house, I softly knocked on the huge wooden door. As I waited, a small uneasy feeling came over me, like I was in danger or someone or something was watching me. A few seconds later, a tall, slender lady with jet black hair answered the door. She introduced herself as Ms. Keeper. Before she walked past me, she made herself clear that I was to follow the rules she left on the dining room table. Ensuring that I would follow them, she kissed her sons goodbye and told them to be on their best behavior, and they don't want me to end up like the last babysitter. I tried calling out to her to ask what she meant by that, but she got into her red Lexus and drove off. Closing the door behind me, I introduced myself as Mandy to both boys. As they played with their toys, I decided to check on the rules their mother left for me to follow. With picking up the piece of paper, I assumed it was the basic set of rules parents leave for me to follow. Boy, was I terribly wrong. The list read, "Hello, Mandy. I'm extremely thankful for your babysitting services on such short notice. I'm sure that you and the boys would get along just great. However, this sheet of paper isn't me praising your babysitting skills. Follow these simple rules I left, and you'll survive. 1. First, both boys need to be in their rooms with both doors locked all before 8:30. Under no circumstances should you open any of their doors after 8:30. They will try everything in their power to convince you to let them out, or even go to the point of busting the door down. Just ignore them and they will tire themselves out. 2. You may find this rule silly, but it's an important rule. Between 8:55 and 10:21, try to refrain from using profanity or any inappropriate acts for your own safety. The eyes will always be watching and listening. To keep yourself entertained, try watching some TV and the movies I left out. 3. At all costs, ignore the basement. Do not interact with it. Do not open the door no matter what happens. If you hear small whimpers or loud screams coming from the basement, ignore them, and they will eventually fade away after 10 minutes. If you are walking past the basement, do not stand in front of it for more than 30 seconds. If a strong urge to open the basement door washes over you, ignore it, and focus on the movie for your own sake. 4. Around 10:30, you may hear loud footsteps walking around upstairs. If you hear the footsteps descend down the stairs quickly, find a hiding spot immediately. It senses movement and loud noises, so try to refrain from moving around too much and making a lot of noise. The entity will disappear after 6 minutes of looking for you. 5. Precisely at 10:38, you will hear scratching from the back door. Quickly grab the plate I wrapped up in the fridge and place it in front of the door. If you see 4 green eyes at the screen door, immediately turn around and walk back into the living room and close your eyes for 15 seconds. You cannot have any glimpse of it in your mind. 6. This is a very crucial rule for you to follow. If the power cuts out around 11 o'clock, do not, I repeat, do not make a sudden move. It will sense you if you make any movement at all. But the difference on this entity is it will try everything in its power to provoke you, with imitating past loved ones or ones that are close with you. It would mock and harass you for 10 minutes straight. Just be strong and ignore it for your own good and safety. 7. Around 12:21, you will hear a firm knock on the front door. Ignore it unless he says random numbers. If so, immediately open the door and direct him 3 doors down and quickly shut the door. He is the bill collector, and he is doing his weekly rounds around the neighborhood to make sure everything is up to par. 8. If you hear a slight tapping on the living room window, open it slowly and keep eye contact with the entity outside the window. No matter what happens, do not let it out of your sight until it vanishes. It absolutely hates eye contact, and it only strikes you when you can't keep an eye on it for at least 30 seconds. It will randomly appear between 12:30 and 1 o'clock. Just have your ears ready at all times and listen out. With this being said, follow the rules and you'll be fine, unless you are the last babysitter. Please be careful and heed the warnings I've listed, and have a nice night. Smiley face, Ms. Keeper. With setting down the note and realizing the problem I'd gotten myself into, I slowly looked at my phone to check the time. 8:19, my phone read to me. Looking back at the boys, they stood side by side, with big, disoriented smiles on their faces, while slowly inching towards me. What the actual fuck?